Hello, we're doing another Gungeon. We're gonna do this one double alternate style, alternate costume. Whoops, alternate gun. What number are we on here? We're on 386, which is like I'm gonna be closing in on 950 in terms of videos. I actually looked over to look at the videos, which I have up in on another monitor, and I could not figure out what number we were on. Dang, dude. Did every single one of those guys explode? That's the kind of luck you don't want to have. So Jackie and I played Phase 10 yesterday, and Phase 10, for those of you who do not know, is a card game slightly similar to Uno. There are multiple things you have to accomplish. Like you get two pair, of two pair and three. Then you have to get like all of one color. You have to get all of or a 7 of one color, 9 in a row, etc., etc. And it's like it's a game that, like all games, you can get better at with practice. But it's a game that I have no practice at, so it felt like Jackie beat me every round except for 2. We didn't go to all 10. We got to like 8, I think, done. She beat me every round but 2, and the first one that I won, she had a victory in her hands, but she overlooked one of her cards. And the second one, I won on my first move. She won a lot on her like first or second move. Ooh, that's definitely a secret room. Let's just do that to make sure. Yeah, she won a lot within the first 3 turns, and like even knowing that it's skill plus luck, even knowing that, I still felt like it was all luck, and I had a little baby fit about it. Like I really reacted wrongly, strongly about it, and that's true, and that's embarrassing. There's not a lot to get worked up over these days. You can watch the news and get worked up over that, but that's just happening all the time. I mean, that was happening way before the coronavirus stuff. Whoa. Man, it takes a long freaking time for Streamlabs to actually... Maybe it's Chatty reporting back that I'm actually live. But, it reminded me, my argument about the thing reminded me a lot of people's arguments about Gungeon, where they say like the way you win Gungeon is easy. You get a really good gun, or you get the clone. Oingo, boingo, stoingo, doingo, bango, boingo, sloingo, doingo, boingo. You gotta win. And it's like, I know that's not true, but I totally understand. I understand how people get there, because it does feel like sometimes the stars, they be aligning. Dang, that sucked. And you have a run where you don't have to work as hard as other runs. And it's a bummer that happened. Oh, mayonnaise. Damn it. My freaking armor did that? Wait a second. Oh, it's right there. Okay, sweet. It's a bummer that that's possible, because people... maybe it's not a bummer because sometimes you want someone that's struggling to have a win, but I think people... the pattern recognition part of our brain goes like, oh, here's an example of when I won without having as much of a struggle, so that must be the secret. This must be the thing that the pros are doing. They're just having really good runs and winning because of that. Or they're having really lucky layouts and winning because of that. And it's like, It's awesome when I get a run where everything kind of falls into place. It is extremely cool. But most of the time, it is not the reason that I have won runs. It's because I've learned all the enemy patterns, and I've learned basically everything I can expect to happen. Everything one can expect to happen, and I got muscle memory for most of it. I got on the fly thinking for a lot of the stuff that I didn't remember, and then, you know, it's just kind of, you practice, you see it, you see the different strategies, you see different ways of handling things, etc. Now, what I did was argued for a long time that the game was 50% luck, and compared it to games that are not in the same wheelhouse, and I don't know, I still don't like games that, like, so one thing I was saying was, like, in a game like Monopoly, there's a luck element, right? And in that luck element, or because of that luck element, somebody can have, like, a better dice roll. They can land on positions, or they can have other people land on their position, their properties often. And it feels like sometimes you just get dealt a crappy hand in a game like that. But I think in a game like Monopoly, the luck aspect of it evens out for the most part. Not all the time, but it evens out often enough that it's essentially negligible. Now you can say, well, in phase 10, doesn't it also even out, if that's your thinking? Probably. But in the time it took me to learn what to do with a good hand, I mean, I had the one where the cards were dealt, and then I set down all my cards, and then it was over. Like, I feel like I didn't learn anything from that. I'm somebody that got, you know, cloned on the first floor and then said this game is a cakewalk. But then the rest of the time is like, so each time in phase 10, when you start, everybody has an objective. You know, like I said, where you're trying to match a certain number of colors or get them in a straight number run or anything like that. You have this stuff to figure out, and when you get that, you then have to spend the rest of your time getting rid of the rest of your hand. Once one person gets rid of everything else in their hand, then that round is over. If you didn't get your cards down before someone got rid of everything in their hand, that person is stuck on the round that they were on while you move on. Oh boy. Yee. Wow, that was great. I'm good at this game. And then they, oh my good fucking lord. And then they also incur a bunch of points, which points don't actually matter for a single player, or a two-player single player, because the first person to finish all 10 phases wins. They matter more for, you know, second, third, fourth, things like that, if you're playing in a big group. But I think the main problem I had with it is you can spend a good while building your deck towards something happening, and then end up without being able to do anything, because you sorry, just thinking about what a weird achievement that is, just specifically tied to the mailbox. But you know, so you put all this effort into getting this thing accomplished, and then one person finishes, and you know, it's all undone. It doesn't matter that you put all this towards it. All of the buildup is just immediately undone, and that happens over and over and over, and that I think that was the most frustrating, to see someone get a really good hand early. They wipe the board clean, give you a bunch of points, and then they're up against a harder challenge next time, but they're up against a harder challenge that you will then have to be up with if you happen to catch up. They could also get another hand that just freaking flies them to the next one. The stop and go nature of it, when you lose, there's a chance that you just cold stop. That made it like really hard for me to like sink my teeth in, especially because like early on, everyone's pretty much lined up because they're easier to do, you know. VSG is really good, and we might use it for the second floor a good amount. You know what I mean by second floor. We might use it to help us turn in the dang thing. Wow. Wow. We're not gonna use it on this floor. Ooh, 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 ooh. One shot with it does kill. God damn, that's amazing. The flare gun is so good. Like, it's better than other fire weapons because I guess it's because the initial impact does so much more that it actually kills. It's one of the guns that makes me think that like most fire weapons are going to be better than they actually end up being. I hope I can get a key. I got a pup and he's not really helping me. I think there's something that I need to see and it's a fucking key. Good lord, goddamn. God damn. I'm America arrogant, terminus words and curfew murders. You either purchase my product or you're worthless. That's my service. Was here into the Oculus of a daylight saver beheaded monument eraser hiding a Patreon. Man, I'm trying to remember this old Company Flow song. Company Flow is El Producto of Run the Jewels fame, his old group. Either you purchase my product or you're worthless. That's my service. And I can probably remember it if I wasn't trying to speed along through it little doggy style. Dang, second secret room with just a single heart in it. Ooh, ooh, ooh. That's so good. We don't need either of those, but we are gonna be stealing soon. Maybe the Raki? The Ratki? Do. Go here. Destroy. Destructo. Go back. Grab it, dag nabbit. So neither of these are going to be shooting fast. We may have to switch weapons if it comes to a situation in which there's a bunch of little fasties coming at us. But I am going to very comfortably overuse the BSG. Whoa, that was weird. Okay, forgot that it it does that when you use it as a weapon. It's something I don't do too much of. That was a little unnecessary there. This is looking good so far. Ah, come on, get him. Nice. Keep it going. God, ammo balances this game so well. Okay. Great equalizer. Damn it. Oh my god, shooting around the corner like that. This is dopacetic. Didn't need it for that one. Dang, didn't need it for this one either, really. Especially since I didn't get the main dude. It's a mimic? It's a target on it. Okay, cool. It's a target finder. Got it. Dang, there's two things I really want to steal. Should have just walked a little bit closer, seeing if this was, Okay, we're gonna do some stealing, and we're gonna do some stealing now. So let's see. That's curse +1. Oh. Extra health and a thing. I mean, I looked at that one, and I was like, long path. Okay, long path is probably the way to the boss. And then I said, I don't need to go to the boss yet. I need to find the other room. And then I proceeded to have to go through like 4 more fucking rooms. Yuck. And finally turn around and go back the way. Oof. Big, bright, early payout of the old jammage from the one steel arena. How badly do I want the red fight? I kind of badly. This run has the opposite of legs. It has arms exclusively, and do you get it? Like guns are arms, like that. Okay. Don't love my boss weapons. Don't love my boss weapons yet. I still don't love my boss weapons for real. This is alright. The old DF, the old damage run. The fucking world's loudest small plane overhead right now. You do not want to be above her. Baby love, my baby love, this. It's your destiny. Yeah, destiny. Invincibility is really good. Really good. The water gun, huh? I will probably open it because I think it's probably going to have a key. Oops, I just teleported it to the same room that I was currently in. I'm very happy to have the exotic. Not even gonna give that one a once over. What was this? Invincibility, yes. So, we would like to waste some of this ammo here. Use it for this. Giving ourselves a second curse. Buy this, giving ourselves access to every secret room in the whole ding-dong game. Destroy this, get nothing from it, nothing doing. Like here? No, really? Okay. It's not gonna be here, can't be. Alright, we're out of here. We're out of here like white on rice. It's right above us. Oh well. Wait, if it's right above us, let's fucking not oh well, and let's just get it. I feel like there's a very, very great chance that it's really okay. Why is this thing seeming like it's shooting out? Why are these letters so dusty? Maybe it's squirting down from this direction. Oh well. Yeah, we're gonna keep using that. Keep using both of these. They're King K rushing it right now. Just let that guy coast a little bit. The coast with the most. I think this gun gets our next ammo. Poison. Ah, I never get it when I actually expect it to, or actually specifically plan it. Not never, you know what I'm saying. Exaggerating for the sake of whatever. I'm gonna waste something a little bit less valuable for the time being. This run's going extremely well because of a couple good things, but it's not the run coasting me. It's me handling my business. My business. It's all me. This game is contributing in no way. Banana's good, but we don't want to even consider it yet. Who's that up there? I know there's somebody there. What's up, Squatchy? How's things, man? Oh, dang. What is it? The weird egg? I think that's what that is. We can't tell, so we're just gonna have to destroy it anyway. Unless we get a poison out of here. Nope. Dang. How you been, buddy? I'm good. I'm just like... just chilling. Villain / Bob Dylan style. Oh, probably could have stopped shooting at some point before then. Honestly, so I know that you're not gonna like to hear this necessarily, but I got myself a copy of Grand Theft Auto. I'm sure if you've been playing online, you know that everybody and their mother got a free copy from the Epic Games Store. Now, being off work has been, well, it's been getting to me, but in like the most positive way. Like, I love it. Honestly, I've been doing so much other work that I feel like I'm more active than I was when I was working. like I've been working on like personal passion projects that I've kind of put on hold for a long time because it's so easy to let everything else get in the way. The way that I described it to Jackie, and I think the way that she kind of feels about it too, is that like I feel that now that I'm not spending, I don't want to use that, I'm not spending like a third of my time on work, I'm remembering who I am, not what my occupation is. Like, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to do any online, but I am definitely going to do, I've been screwing around with mods. I got Natural Vision Evolved installed, and ooh my, it's a pretty mod. It really slows down my my frame rate though. I just wanted something pretty and kind of thoughtless to be able to play, you know? Like not that the game isn't thoughtful in its own right, but for me playing it, I don't want to get too attached to the world or anything. I just want something neat to look at. Dang. Okay, that's fine. I've seen Nate go through a bunch of it. He's had the game multiple times. He got the game back on Xbox 360. Dude, I'm running out of ammo here. He got the game on PlayStation 4, and he got the game on PC. So he is, and I don't think he's played any online. I'm already getting that. I'm at like maximum 35 frames per second on single player mode. Natural Vision Evolved is it is a fucking beauty of a thing, but it takes its toll. Come on, be dead. Thank you. Yikes. You're really gonna try to give me the Plague Pistol as my reward for that flawless? You shitting ass of a game. Is it a server issue that makes the online experience so inconsistent? I know that Rockstar is notorious for not being really on the customer. No, I have not. Aw, dang it. Honestly, I've never done any modding for the sake of like, now my favorite character's in the game, or any of that kind of stuff. It's always just been like, I need an excuse to like push my graphics cards to the limit. I heard it's been particularly bad since the free version of the game went out, and I can totally understand that. That's a big part of the reason why I'm not hopping into the online, because I don't want to like knowingly give myself frustration, you know? Oh yeah, I know. I looked at it on the Steam page because I couldn't figure out how to get my mods work, and I wasn't sure if it was tied to the. I got the free version is the Epic Game Store version, and that's funny. I don't know how they could have thought that online wouldn't be this big. It's like it's such a great idea. It genuinely is like, oh my god, all of these suck. I've been thinking about an online experience similar to GTA Online for years, just like a big open sandbox where people can do whatever. kind of go in any direction. Well, I heard if you teleport twice, you can turn on a fuse. I want to see if that's true. It totally worked. I should have done that earlier. But I don't know if I can even get close enough to read what's in there. Well, that's all I was hoping for. Looks like no go. But I straight up don't want any of these other fucking items. Banana's alright. Banana's alright. Okay. Let's remember. Oh, I bet it's in here. But yeah, I don't like the idea. I don't like the idea of grinding for like money in a game like that. Like, it's not a leveling system, the money and stuff that I feel myself compelled to be a part of. Like, well, that was definitely the one to go, the one to take. The way it all works with the like just slow accruing of money or buying fucking card packs or whatever is just like or buying money packs. I don't know, shark cards, whatever they're called. I don't want to be a part of that. So even though it's the base version of it is free, it's free the way that a mobile game is free, in my opinion, and I'd rather just not. The base version of GTA Online. And honestly, I don't want a bunch of dickheads like ruining my day, you know? I'd rather just have fun doing dumb shit.
Hey, new boss.
What's up, baby?
Oh, I just took this picture and sent it to my dad. Because Rob Reiner looks exactly like Uncle Jim in this picture.
Guy looks like he's having the tastiest beverage of his life.
Looks like shit, but he looks just like my uncle. It's also like after midnight for Dad.
I don't want to mod in all the money and stuff. I just like still nothing on that.
Hey, Squatch.
I'd honestly rather just like, I don't know, give myself cars in single player. I have no desire. Like I've seen what you and your friends have done on online, and it seems really fun. But like, oh damn, I'm very comfortable with a single player experience. Squadgy says hi after you left. Yeah, da 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 da. Ugh. Alright, I guess we could keep using the BSG, but I would really like a second fun room clearer to use. Hey, can you... What? This guy's invincible. Maybe I'll just turn on GTA 5, see if I can show what the natural vision looks like. It really is like very, very taxing on the old computer. Alright, get that later. I'm just cartwheeling around out here. Cartwheel, fart wheel, as they call me. Eric Cartwheel Man. I don't know what guns I want even to give this stuff to, because honestly, the guns are kind of poo-poo. Oh, I could spend 126 to get a fucking ability to open doors for free. I guess I could steal it. I'm at 2 curse? Yeah. It's not a 2 curse? Yee. Yoop, yoop, yoop. That's all right. It's actually okay that this is the room here because I've been really lucky this run to get mostly other mostly actual shops recently. And I've been really out of it. You know, one of the things that's like kind of the funniest about the quarantine is that the only person I talk to is Jackie for the most part. I've been making phone calls and calling friends. Nate's been connecting with us over like FaceTime to do exercises in the mornings. But I have lost my ability to communicate, like, to a substantial degree. And again, I don't really mind. I'm not saying that, like, oh, woe is me. It's more like, who needs it? Like, I don't know. I sound like I'm a very antisocial person, and I'm sure that it's very easy to interpret my appreciation for this isolation as such. But I just think it's kind of nice. Marge Simpson holding up quarantine. Like, I just think it's kind of neat. You guys know the meme. You know all the memes. If I know a meme, everybody knows it. I'm last on the block on the meme adoption. I'm like, oh, meme? Oh, my. Don't shoot at me, you freaking shit. Anybody else still alive? Please say no. A-do, a-do, a-diggly-do, a-diggle-diggle-do-do. A-dee, a-dee, a-twiddly-dee, a-dee-tweedly-dee, dee-dee-dee-dee, a-doo-doo. Whoa! That was rude as fuck. I actually am going to use that to de-jamify this Toward? Did she say that? Marge, you're not a noob. You're a sweet loving mother. Noob? Everybody else is the noob, Marge. You know, it's really funny how... Sorry, I just didn't feel like getting hit there. How little... Oh, shit. Oh, wait, no, we're fine. We're fine. I just realized I shouldn't have used my blank because we're actually going to the rat. This was almost the second time in like 3 or 4 runs where I forgot to go to the rat. Oh, I feel like there are oodles of those in the later life of the series. Excuse me? You don't know where to target now all of a sudden? What the fuck? This is stupid. Alright. There's some weird slowdown there. There we go. There we go. Ooh. There we go. Jackie put on an episode. Oh, thank the fucking Christ, Lord. We got something to work with. Jackie put on an episode from season 2 recently. And, like, I love early Simpsons. I think that early Simpsons, even, like, way too early Simpsons, is so good. Like, when Homer still sounds weird, when Mr. Burns is, like, less developed, more pure evil, less goofy evil. Like, there's something about super early Simpsons where the characters aren't so... They're not so hard-pressed into characters that, like, you really get rounded edges with them. You get, like, contradictory elements. There's a part where, I think the episode's called, like, Dancin' Homer or something like that, where Homer and Mr. Burns, like, really bond over a beer. And it's like, man, that kind of shit wouldn't happen. Dang, that sucks. Wouldn't happen later on because, you know, Mr. Burns is a cartoonish supervillain. He's a real Bezos Musk type. He's a real over the top in every way kind of bad guy, money-based bad guy. And you don't get the nuance where he can do something that's completely against his character and then immediately afterwards show that, like, it didn't really affect him that way. I don't know. Maybe I need to watch more of the later season and give it a fairer chance, but I feel like you cannot write the same characters for 35 years or whatever. Different writers, different time. None of the characters are aging. It's just like they're trapped in time, but the world around them is getting different. The commentary doesn't work the same way because the everything else has changed. Well, they're still, you know, Bad Boy Bart and weird. What would you even describe, Lisa? Like pseudo-intellectual, but like also shallow? I don't know. A real trend follower. Oh no, I'm not saying for them changing it up. I just wish that, like, I wish they would have let the show die during season 10. Like, I don't know, it just is such a, like, damn near perfect thing for it to just be dead horse style beaten for longer than it was good, you know? Like, if you got something good, don't desecrate its corpse. Just let it be good and then let it end. But it's such a fucking financial powerhouse of a property. They can never stop. I was actually listening to a show that had an interview with Yardley Smith, the woman who voices Lisa, and everybody is paid the same per episode on that show, right? I think it's something they agreed to during the writer's strike or something like that. And yeah, I know, it's like, it's upsetting that they can't just let sleeping dogs lie. Just let the good end while it's still good. But anyway, Yardley Smith was saying, like, she, from time to time, is like the highest paid person in Hollywood per word, because there are whole episodes where Lisa says one or two things, and they make like $500,000 an episode or something like that. Why the fuck is homing so stupid on so many fights, I'm finding out? It's unfortunate. I understand the financial obligation. Everything is about just, like, squeezing every penny out of it. Like, who am I to say that Nancy Cartwright and Yardley Smith and Hank Azaria and all those people shouldn't, Dan Castellaneta, they shouldn't be able to keep milking. But, like, if you want to think of anything as, like, dude, my guns are just so worthless right now. What do I even have? Whoops. I don't know. It's the greatest example of something like overstaying its welcome. I don't know if South Park is still doing okay. I don't know if South Park is still on the air. I honestly don't know anything about TV for the most part, like at all. Are they airing new shows, or is TV kind of on pause? Like, I know that like something happened with the show Blacklist, which has like Kevin Spader or whatever the fuck his name is. Right. You know, it's like, okay. So I want to tie this back into Final Fantasy. Is Final Fantasy VII Remake a spoiler for you, Scotchy? Like, I don't want to bring it up if it is. I'm going to wait. Okay, so I absolutely loved the Final Fantasy VII Remake. I loved every decision they took with this series. They slowed things down in Midgar, which I always felt was like such a cool city that it was a shame it got rushed through. Ooh, can't block that one right. I always thought that it was a huge shame that we didn't get, you know, we never got to like live in Midgar in playing the game. Yes, I absolutely love that. And you want to know why? Because of the exact thing we were talking about. Instead of Final Fantasy VII being a Dead Horse style rehashing of the past, the creators of Final Fantasy VII and the remake said, you guys don't get to determine what Final Fantasy VII in the modern day is going to be. We are going to take the power of nostalgia out of the hands of the people who just want things to be the same thing over again. I love the idea that they said, we're not doing Final Fantasy VII exactly the same way again, because Final Fantasy VII, exactly the same way it exists. It's on every console. You can play through Final Fantasy VII and get that same story beat by beat, have nothing change, and feel like the retelling. There's a remastered version that looks better if you really are like needing a graphical overhaul of the game. Like, all of that stuff exists, but for people who want to experience the world of Final Fantasy VII and have something new happen, I very, very much respect the creators of the game saying, we know that people are going to complain. We know that this is going to feel like trotting on old memories, but we are going to separate ourselves from the past. We are going to make something new, and we're going to write into the game the fact that we are changing what the expectation is. And you can hate it, but we're going to forge a new path forward. Final Fantasy VII became a platform instead of a rehash. We don't need 20 years later Final Fantasy VII all over again. We need something new in the same world, because the world was fantastic and it got shit on with like Advent Children and Crisis Core and Dirge of Cerberus. I don't know, I think Crisis Core is beloved, but Dirge of Cerberus and all these games where it just like, they kind of turned something, they just tried to milk more from the dry teat of the cow of Final Fantasy VII. And I think that this is such an interesting way to say, like, we're doing something different, guys. Like, you can either be on board or you can not play it. But we're not going to do the same thing over and over. There was a, way back in the day, the director, Tetsuo Nomura or whatever, said that once they're remaking Final Fantasy VII, it is the end of Square Enix as a games creation company, because they've taken their best property, their most universally well-received property, and have proven that they can't do anything up to that level again. And the way that I feel about it is, this is them not doing the same thing. It's them making something new with it, and then still, to some degree, reapproaching it you know, overhauling the graphics and gameplay, making the whole thing feel so wonderfully new. Like, oh man, that ate the whole actual effect of that. That's weird. And I had such a great time. Like, I haven't gone back to it because it's a game that I really want to give its fair time before I dive back in. But I absolutely am playing that game again. Like, time travel, everybody hates time travel. Everybody hates the idea of parallel universes because I think it's been done badly so many times that it's kind of worrisome when it's even brought up. But the time travel parallel universe aspect of it is a direct message to the players. It's a direct message saying, like, hey, we know that you value this. We know that it's important to you, but we can't just spend our time playing this, making the same game with prettier visuals. Like, oh man, I think it, like, I don't know about the whispers themselves, but I think it really does with the life stream, the planet having this energy, this kind of idea of it being, you know, this force, the arbiters of destiny or whatever, are this force of the planet to go down a certain path. You think what they could have done? I mean, but like, I would have been really disappointed with just a prettier version of the same game, personally. And I think that because since they've already increased the graphics by releasing the updated version, like they've done for most of their games, that doesn't give you anything new. It's not something that I would have gotten excited with. Crash and Spyro, the only reason that people bought those is because they didn't release just an HD version of it. I mean, those games are just coats of paint, and we have enough rehashing and enough coats of paint put on something to make a buck off of it. Like, the only thing we know from the old game is the story? What are you talking about, from Final Fantasy? I don't understand what you mean by the only thing we know is the story. The story still exists. It's called Final Fantasy VII. Oops, that sucked. Like, that's not being taken from anybody. I guess that's my point of view. They're not going out and breaking all the copies of it. It's on Switch, it's on phones, it's on the PC, it's on every console out there. Final Fantasy VII with slightly prettier graphics exists, and there's even, like, you know, there's a mod that makes it look even higher textures, but it's still the same. It's the same game. It's the same thing. They don't want... The reason that this isn't Final Fantasy Remake Episode 1 is because after this first point, after this first story, it's going to be something different. And, like, I love the idea of facing the unknown. The known is known. The unknown is infinitely more interesting because it can be anything. It could be terrible, but again, the old story still exists. It hasn't been removed from anybody. It's just not coming out for $60 on a new system, you know? I feel like it's the perfect example of not beating the dead horse. It's the first time that someone took a beloved property and didn't just wring out every cent of it. They let it become something greater. Maybe not in everybody's opinion greater, but something different than it already was. Different than the thing that already exists. They didn't let nostalgia be the only thing that's making this version of the game stand out. It actually has to stand off on its own. It has to make a name for itself. Otherwise, it would just be a game that you could play on the, you know, the PlayStation already and have the exact same experience. I understand both sides of it. I think that like remakes and remasters and like Last of Us came out on the fucking PlayStation 3 and then a few months later came out on the PlayStation 4 is the exact same game. I know that when PlayStation 5 comes out, if they don't do backwards compatibility, which hopefully they will, there's going to be a Last of Us first version that comes out on it. They're going to put Last of Us 2 on both versions, one with better graphics than the other. And it's like, why do we need the old to just continue living forever so that some companies can make some money off it? Why not let the old, if it's going to exist as something new, something different? That's fine. You're allowed to have that opinion, and I think that's written into the story. Like, if people want... Oh, fuck, that sucks. If people want the old game, and this is really like a big... Something that I respect a lot about it. If you want the old game, I feel like the creators are saying, if you want the old game, it's there for you. If you don't want the old game, this is not the old game. And I love that idea. Like, I personally absolutely respect them for... Yeah, that sucks. That sucks to me. Like, that's not... I mean, that's not doing anything, as far as I feel. Like, just getting a game that already exists so they can charge you $60 for a texture swap, like... Or $40 or whatever. That's like... I don't know. That feels shitty to me. But... I just am very happy to have a new thing. They could have said, this isn't Final Fantasy VII, this is Final Fantasy 16, like they did with Final Fantasy 15. They took Final Fantasy 13 offshoot and made it a new thing, and it suffered for it because it wasn't a fully realized world. It wasn't its own different, distinct thing in its conception, but they tried to stretch it into that, and I think it's like, I don't know. I think that's what they're getting at. I think if you play the game, they're remaking history. They're remaking their future. I think the reason it wasn't called Episode 1 is specifically to play off of that. And I personally like it because the way that it works is, and this is something that we talked about in an earlier video. God, my voice is all scratchy. Excuse me. In Metal Gear Solid 2, there's the big thing where all of the marketing material, all of that stuff was very... a lot of people felt betrayed by it, where they kept the secret of you not really playing as a Snake. Damn it. They kept that from the player, and I think that kind of stuff is brilliant. I feel like, hey, that worked. I didn't know the bees could do that. Oh, this gun sucks. But if they had said if they had called the game Final Fantasy VII, but it's a new and different game, then there would have not been that element of surprise when things started changing. Like, I started noticing things changing early on. I started noticing that like Aerith had more powers. You don't know, but you're deciding that they most likely won't already. I think that they did. I think, having played through the entire experience, I think they pulled it off extremely well because it feels so specifically like they're saying, we don't want this to be the past, exactly the same story. We don't want to just press repeat. We want to edit. We want to remix. We want to change this game that already exists and already is beloved in its current form. If we do anything, all people are going to say is, it's not like the one, and that's what people are still doing. A lot of people are still saying this is not like the old one, so I don't like it. But they've already written that part out, where if that's how you feel, it's not for you. What isn't the entire experience? I know they don't have to follow it for the rest of the way. That's the point, in my mind. Like, if they made it the same game, they would then have to tell the exact same story. We'd have to go through the same motions that we already know. There are no surprises in playing a game that for every further step, it's going to be, all right, here's where Red 13 does this. Here's where we meet Yuffie. Here's where the game is like, it's a very well-crafted story, but it's a story that's already been told all the way through, with all of its elements written out and dissected and like really, really overanalyzed by people for years and years and years. For decades, people have been. They could have, but like I was just saying, people have analyzed and dissected and done all that. They've explained some of the stuff in movies, in offshoot games. They've explained some of the stuff in side storying. I mean, they could have, but again, like I said, because of playing through the game, they didn't want to. They wanted to tell a new story, and I think it's great that they are. I mean, earlier in our conversation, Squatchy, we were saying that like beating a dead horse, just getting as much as you can from an property and crushing it into the ground is problematic. It's like, it's something that Hollywood and video game tellers and video and storytellers, they rely on too long. I don't feel that way because I feel like I played the game and I see the reasoning why they've done these things. I think people on the outside who haven't seen the subtle way that these changes were introduced don't really know how weird it is to feel the twisting of getting something different. Like, I think they did a great job not only keeping it hidden from the public for so long, but like just putting these tiny little moments of doubt in your mind that everything is the same. Just tiny moments spread out over 30 hours that you're like, that seems a little weird. Okay, and then it leads to this thing, and you're like, oh right, here's where they breadcrumbed it. Here's where they left us these hints and these this pre-knowledge, and I don't know. I adore it. Like, I think that I think they did an incredible job not just giving people what they wanted and actually like standing up for their art, you know? Like, that to me is just amazing, because it would have been absolutely safe for them to release Final Fantasy VII, the same game, a second time, and no one would have faulted them for that. But they said, here's something that we feel is valuable, we're gonna do it. Aye. It's like, you ever hear the story of like writers or something when like they're being pitched like, all right, Stephen King, we need another story, and he's just throwing out schlock, right? He's just throwing out stuff because he has this pressure to produce another book or to produce another It or whatever, and he's just kind of throwing out schlock just to get him off his back. I feel like they could have easily cashed in, and Square Enix has definitely just cashed in a ton. I mean, they have put out some real stinkers, and they have made money off of the same game as many times as Capcom has with Final Fantasy or Resident Evil 4. I think that's kind of a presumption, though. Why do you think that? Is it because the original already exists? Or is it because you're assuming that it's going to be bad from here on out? I think that the remake has the potential to do something different, and if it were the same game, there's no way it would be memorable. Like, if it was just an exact rehash of the game that already exists, there is no way that anybody would care about it long term, because it would just, they just did a slower version of what's already there. Like, they are taking a huge chance by doing something different, but they're taking a chance. They're not playing it safe. They're not riding on the coattails of a game that already exists. And that's something that I personally, at least, like, I respect them for. And I enjoyed the game so much that it's like, you know, it's like, if the game was bad, in my opinion, none of that would matter. But the game was really, really good, in my opinion. And because of that, I have a lot of, like, hope for the remainder of the series. I love getting something new. I will always love getting something new more than getting more of the same. Oh, well, I'm saying there's a difference between the Resident Evil... I don't remember the Resident Evil 1 remake, but I'm talking about how Resident Evil 4 came out on every system in a different version. Like, every year, basically, there was a new version of Resident Evil 4. Like, it's the same exact game, it's just slightly prettier. You know, you can have that, but, like, what do you gain from it? A different system to put it on? A different graphics engine to run it through, but you're playing the exact same thing over and over and over? That's cool. Square Enix did that with Final Fantasy VII, but they also were doing something new. Like, I think those things can exist, but they're not the only thing that should exist, I guess, is my point. Like, you can make a game that's like Resident Evil 1. I think there's 1, 2, and 3 all have remakes now, and they don't change much. They tell the same story. They look better, but they tell the same story for the most part. I personally, if I had Resident Evil 2, and I had all these, like, memories of Resident Evil 2, and then someone released a prettier version, there's a part of me that would be like, okay, I should buy that new version of this game I've played. But I love having a brand new experience, not some newness tacked on at the end, but like a brand new experience that catches me off guard. I don't like repetition. I mean, I played this game 4,000 times or whatever, but I don't. If they released Gungeon 2 and it was just 3D models and it's the exact same game otherwise, I'd be disappointed. Like, they're the same game narratively. Like, I'm not talking about mechanically. I'm talking about narratively. Like, it doesn't, I feel like you're putting up a barrier around it because you have experienced it in the past. There's no way that they could, I don't know. Like, you're free to have your own opinion about it, but I just think, like, having played it, and I liked Final Fantasy VII. It was the first JRPG that I played, and I played the hell out of it when I had it, but I'm not like a Final Fantasy VII super fan. I'm not somebody who has dissected the game. I played it through multiple times, but I haven't played it on any system other than the original PlayStation. I didn't buy it again for the Switch or the PC or anything like that. Yeah, and again, the original still exists, and Square Enix is very, very willing to take your money for the original again. But this one gives people who got all they could out of the original something new to play, you know? And I love it. Like, I'm not trying to, again, I'm really not trying to, like, crap on your ideas of what the game should be. I don't think that Final Fantasy VII needs to be in existence twice with the same story being told, because the other story, the other telling of the story is told very, very well. Oh man, like, doing it again just feels like a cash grab. At least to me. It just feels like a cash grab. Doing something new feels like they're willing to potentially lose some cash on this project because it's the project that they want to pursue. Dang, I should have waited for another shot before I did all that. I think that's what they want to do with most remakes. Like, I know people who the first time they played Resident Evil... I mean, my wife never played Resident Evil 2. She played the shit out of Resident Evil 4. She would hate Resident Evil 2, old PS1 version, with the tank controls and the limited graphics and the loading between doorways and all of that. But she genuinely has had, like, she hasn't played a ton of it, but she's had a good amount of fun with Resident Evil 2, the remake, and I think that that's great. But I also think that it doesn't need to be... I think that just making the same game so that new people can play it is kind of... It still just feels like a cash grab to me, I guess. Ooh. I wonder if those can pierce. Ooh, 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 ooh. I'm excited. Yeah, but I guess the similarity is the narrative. The story told is the same, and the story of Final Fantasy VII. I love that I can expect something unfamiliar going forward. Oh, we did get the lead gun. Like, but you know, I think it's for everyone to decide. And I didn't really bring up Resident Evil or Final Fantasy VII to say like you have to like it or whatever, because it's kind of a waste of everybody's time to believe that they have to appreciate things the same way. But I wanted it specifically as an example of a company not resting on its laurels, a company going out of its way to say like, we're going to take this and we're going to move it in a different direction, even though it would be so financially safe for us to do otherwise. Like, when you get season 30 of The Simpsons and the characters are not telling any new jokes and not doing anything new, you have the other option there. You have the other alternative where you just do the easy, safe thing, and then everybody's bored, but it's still making money, you know? Like, what? Isn't what we got in the world, so... Oh. You were wanting it... Yeah, you were wanting just a mechanically different version of the game. And I understand that. I think a lot of the callbacks, the references, the things like that, the similarities are great. They do a great job of fulfilling that stuff for me. But the differences are what really make it phenomenal, make it something special. It's the differences, it's the things that we didn't think. You know, we're not just sitting and waiting for each moment to happen. We're sitting and waiting for something new to happen, and that's fucking crazy to me. Like, I think it takes an incredible amount of guts to do something different with such a revered property. And I don't know. I'm gonna pre-order. I'm gonna play all the other ones. I don't even really pre-order games, but I'm gonna fucking be all over the rest of the series because I don't know what to expect. Like, that's fucking exciting. Like, I don't want to know what to expect. I guess, and I feel that way about a lot of things. Like, I always feel happier being caught off guard. I always want an unexpected twist. Not a twist that everybody's been talking about what the twist is going to be for weeks, or the movie is like, be ready for a twist. I wasn't ready for the twist in this one. I felt blindsided, and that's a great feeling to me. Uncertainty in video games is something that I like, because you can get the familiar anytime. I mean, honestly, I don't know about that. I remember games costing like $90 back on when I had a Sega Genesis. Like, I remember games costing a fucking lot back in the day. I remember looking through like the Toys R Us game catalog, and I convinced my mom to buy me these like shitty games because they were only $50. Like, oh, I've never actually gotten into the Kingdom Hearts series, so I don't really know what the fuck's going on with that one. That one's kind of like a hard pass on for me. Not for any necessarily like particular reason. It just doesn't. I don't know. It seems the idea of seeing like, I don't care about Disney, I think, is actually what it is. Yeah. Yeah, and again, I feel I honestly feel that the Final Fantasy VII remake is their first attempt to do something that may not be financially lucrative with a property that they could just rake over the coals of that. They wouldn't, I don't think anybody would be, I think everyone would just be like, huh, that's fine. They re-released Final Fantasy VII with a new fresh paint of coat or some mechanical upgrades. Everyone would just be like, that's fine. But they didn't do that, and like, I personally, I love it when that's the case. Yeah. I mean, you could... Taking a chance is always taking a chance. All the remainder of the games that come out could be absolute dog shit. But even if they follow the story beat by beat, they could still be absolute dog shit. Like, I don't know. One of the big moments of the original Final Fantasy VII was Aerith's death, and like, that was like a catch you by surprise, keep everything hidden, don't let anybody know what's going to happen. They showed Aerith. Yeah, but it'll give them money in the short run. But like, think about games that have like ruined the good name of series. Like Resident Evil 6 almost ruined the Resident Evil franchise. It still made money, but they had to go in such a drastically different direction with the next numbered entry in there that it's almost like, I don't know, like they almost killed a franchise by having a bad version of a game just coasting on its laurels. Like, and I think that's kind of the difference of a lot of it, is like, they didn't want to put out a Final Fantasy game that was just going to make them money and then ruin the good name of the series. They already almost ruined it with Final Fantasy 13. That was an instance of them almost like decimating the entire Final Fantasy franchise. That and Spirits Within and the Advent Children movie and like all these things where they were releasing stuff under the title of the franchise, but not ensuring that it was something that they were willing to do other than just to make some money. Ooh. This is not going all that well right now. That was a rough fight. Man, this thing takes fucking forever to shoot. Or to reload. Yeah, but those were market trends that they kind of started. I mean, wasn't Resident Evil 4 the first push towards like an action-oriented Resident Evil game? And that game did extremely well. That game like crushed their sales records. Like, that was a cover shooter. That was an over-the-shoulder cover shooter. Resident Evil 5 did incredibly well despite being an action game instead of a horror game. Resident Evil 6 was just a culmination of a lot of those, and it feels like the only reason that they moved on to doing something else is because it did badly. Like, if Resident Evil 6 did well even with poor critical reception, I think Resident Evil 7 would have been another mashup of styles type of game. Like, ooh. There we go. An FOK POW LGLF. I don't know, man. Resident Evil 4 kind of started that whole thing. I mean, Gears of War definitely put it to a huge, huge level. But Resident Evil 4 is the grandpappy of them all. Man, I can't believe I did as well as I did in that run. And it felt like I had not a ton working for me the whole time. What is this? 387. Good shit.